I don't usually make videos like this, but I felt it was necessary due to seeing such blatant and overt propaganda from a major news organization. And I was personally at the location they were reporting on, so I was able to see how things really were versus how the media portrayed it to be. Although I do have a lot of political views on various subjects, I haven't really taken part in like marches or protests in my life. But this particular issue, I do believe, goes beyond politics, and it's a clear moral issue. That's why I felt it was necessary and important to take part in the March for Life this year. I have supported the March for Life since I've heard about it. Family members of mine have attended past marches, but this was the first time I was able to attend myself. I'll try to include in the About section of this video information for those who may not be pro-life or they're unsure of their position, resources that might help establish and explain the truth regarding abortion, and maybe even some like questions and responses to different arguments that people might have heard of. In the future, I believe our descendants will look at legalized abortion in much the same way that our current culture looks at legalized slavery in the past. And in fact, the arguments people made for slavery back then are now the same arguments pro-abortion advocates make for taking the life of an unborn baby. You know, in a general sense, the basic argument for slavery back then and an abortion is like some human beings are worth less than others because they lack qualities that I have. Therefore, my desires are greater than their rights or even their right to life. Many of the arguments against slavery and abortion are based on the reality that all human beings are intrinsically valuable and we all have equal natural rights regardless of our characteristics or age and development. I'll include links in the About section, like I said, for more information on the issue. But for anyone who's commenting who's pro-abortion, I'd recommend reading those resources before making a comment, as the resources I'm going to provide will address most questions on the issue and most arguments on the issue. So back to why I'm making this video. After I attended the March for Life rally, I was really amazed to see such a diverse and large group of people in San Francisco who are pro-life. I even noticed some secular pro-life groups there too, and that was something I think that pro-abortion individuals fail to realize. Although many with religious beliefs do hold to a pro-life stance, it's justified far beyond any individual religion, as it's a natural right to life for all human beings. This is something that everyone from all walks of life and backgrounds can get behind, you know, regardless of your background. Later in the evening, after the march was over, I decided to search the news to see any coverage of what had transpired that day. The news coverage I saw at first made me laugh because of the intentional, dishonest, and ridiculous coverage of the march. But then I realized that people are gonna watch that and they're gonna believe the narrative that the news is trying to push. So that's why I wanted to make this video. Okay, this clip I'm about to show you, it's the first clip that I saw when I was checking out and searching for stuff. I'm just going to show you the first part of it, and then I'll show you a little bit of the clip after I make some comments. But let me show you the first part, though, right now.
Tom Jensen reports supporters on both sides were out in San Francisco making their voices heard.
We've seen this so many times before, haven't we? Hundreds of anti-abortion rights advocates on one side of the street and hundreds more pro-abortion rights advocates on the other side of the street, fighting for what they believe in on the streets of San Francisco on this anniversary.
As you'll notice in that video that they made the comment that there are hundreds in the pro-life group and hundreds more in the pro-abortion group. They literally make it sound like there was at best an equal amount of people demonstrating on both sides of the issue, or at worst that there are hundreds more, you know, of the pro-abortion counter-protesters than the pro-life individuals. The cameraman has a reporter in front of the group of counter-protesters, and the way he's filming it zoomed in, it makes it seem like there's a larger amount of people than there actually were there. Even as they do their other shots, they zoom in on the counter-protesters to make it seem that way. You know, and it seems like they do like a lot more footage of them in the way they do it. It just seemed like it was really active and like a really large group. But I know an appeal to population fallacy is no way to arrive at truth. That's not what I'm saying. You know, truth is truth regardless of how many people affirm or deny it. My point isn't to make that claim, but it's more to show that this false narrative that's being demonstrated there, that the media is doing. You'll notice that the clip that they use right here to show them, this is what I mean, like they end up zooming in on a lot of these people to make it seem like there's like a lot more of them than there were, or they're equal amounts or more or whatever. But if you actually like watch this, they have to, like, for instance, here's a lady with the pink beanie and then the little pink flag, and then the very next clip. pink beanie flag. So it's like the cameraman has to like take those different footages or shots that they did and then kind of repeat them to make it seem like, as if you're just watching it really quickly, it's going to seem like a large trail of individuals, like a bigger amount than there is. But they didn't have that many people to like really keep videotaping this large demonstration of pro-choice individuals, so they had to fake it, just like they have to zoom in right here on the front of the group to make it seem like it, as there wasn't that many individuals there. And this is the pro-life group on the other side right there, but you know they do show a little bit of that in the original video. You'll see in the link. But that's my point is that it's like, not only do they create the false narrative verbally create the false narrative that there's hundreds on one side and hundreds more on the other side. That's a verbal false narrative. They actually like visually try to like demonstrate that as well. But if you're not there, you'll just assume that that's the fact, that there was just equal amounts of protesters and counter protesters on the issue. I mean, it's just ridiculous how the news does this kind of stuff. I wouldn't have noticed or wouldn't have known unless I was there. Maybe that's why it's more shocking to me, but maybe it happens all the time, or it probably does happen all the time. It's just because obviously the cameraman knew, the reporter knew, they were intentionally doing this. It wasn't just like an accidental thing. If you were there, you knew that there wasn't that many counter protesters compared to like the thousands of pro-life individuals.
They want is control, and that's why they're going after not only the abortion pill, but gay marriage, contraception, and even interracial marriage.
The point is they're trying to downplay how many people are pro-life throughout California and the United States, and make it seem that there's such a strong turnout of pro-abortion individuals. Many who may be pro-life and aren't courageous enough to speak against the moral atrocity of abortion may feel that there aren't as many people who share their position. And even worse is they did not correct a pro-abortionist lie in their coverage that the pro-life group, they made the claim that the pro-life group there that are against interracial marriage, which nobody said that. So based on the false narrative that's portrayed and not corrected by the media, that could easily been corrected just by seeing the diversity and huge numbers of pro-life individuals, or interviewing somebody and asking them about that. Someone who may be pro-life may not want to speak out or help out that movement now because they don't want to be labeled as a racist or think that that's what the group is. So they're trying to make individuals feel isolated in their position and feel like they shouldn't be helping or speaking out or helping and joining to raise awareness, because they might fear being labeled a racist. But that's the whole weapon that they try to use to shut people down, is make a lot of false claims and try to attach it to like fringe views. And they really just, create a, straw man fallacies throughout this whole thing and just attack those, because their argument for abortion is really weak. Give a visual representation without the people there. So all the way in the corner over there, that street over there, and this is blocked off with the police. But the police basically blocked this whole area off around here, and it was filled, not completely, but there was like maybe a little bit of spots here and there that weren't like completely filled. It wasn't like back to back, but there was, large amounts of people there. Anyway, not hundreds, I would say thousands of people throughout here, because it went all the way from that side all the way to over here. And in the video of the protesters, you're seeing it from the angle the person's over here and they're looking this way. But there's actually people that were all the way over here and all throughout this whole area. So it wasn't just the police blocking off and keeping them separate from there. It was all the police were having all the streets around because of how many people were there. And then the march actually ended up going up that street, and that's where the people were demonstrating. It wasn't even that many people. It was right here. You'll see in the other video. That's the group right there. Now the street on the other side over there is the pro-life people. So this street is separating the pro-life individuals. But the volunteers for security for the March for Life, there were police, but there was also volunteers from the group that were wearing those little neon things. But this is it. Yeah. The other side over there, that's all pro-life, all on that side over there. So over here is all the counter demonstrators. It was barely anything. I mean, compared to the actual number of people, which you'll see right now. This is barely like nothing. Oh, and then to even give like a better look from an aerial point of view. So the protesters were right here in front of these little steps right here. And that was them, like you see in the video. The pro-life individuals were all through this whole area. This whole square spot. Like, to give an idea, they were all through here. You know, the majority over here, and then there's like a bunch here, and then here. Like there were just groups all over the place. You know, but the protesters were like right around here. And then the march went up that way. Now, all these individuals that you're about to see march through here are all pro-life group. They're all the March for Life group. So that's what I mean, why it's so like ridiculous and obvious that they were intentionally trying to lie about the issue.